The Flightline Cafe was quiet. Steam rose from the coffee pot as she poured, calm and unnoticed. Just a woman behind the counter. Until the pilot walked in. He joked with his crew. But when he reached for his cup, he froze. His hand shook. His eyes were locked on her sleeve. A patch. Faded, but clear. His voice cracked as he whispered, "That's not possible." She died in '09. She simply looked up and smiled. Welcome to Battlefield Echoes. Watch closely. What happened next might change how you see the military forever. The sun had just risen over the base. Light touched the frost-covered tarmac and reflected off fighter jets that hadn't flown in days. The wind was dry and cold, blowing through fences and antennas. It made the air feel old. At the edge of the lot stood the Flightline Cafe. It was more of a shack than a cafe. The windows were cloudy, the doors stuck in the cold. But inside, it was always warm, and she was always there. No one knew when. She arrived. No one ever saw her come in. But by the time the first tired airman showed up, the lights were on and the coffee was ready. She didn't wear a name tag. Just a dark blue blouse, a black apron, and a fleece jacket. On her arm was an old patch. Faded. Not standard. Most thought it was just for show. Maybe her dad's. Some whispered it was military. A few said nothing. At all. She didn't talk much. She didn't ask questions. She moved with quiet purpose, like a soldier on duty. People called her ma'am or just said, "Hey." She always gave a small nod. Some nicknamed her the Coffee Ghost. New guys sometimes asked who she was. Veterans never did. That morning, regulars came in as usual. 2 sergeants sat at their table. Contractors grumbled about project delays. A young drone tech tried to flirt. She stared him down. He backed off. At 7 a.m., a group of flight crew burst in. Loud, cold, smelling the fuel. One winked at her. "I owe you for yesterday." She just nodded. At the back, a quiet man read. His paper, always alone. Retired E9. No one knew much about him. But he always left a $20 bill, even if he didn't order anything. He watched her more closely than anyone else. She moved efficiently. No wasted steps, always alert. Never turned her back to the door. Her patch had no name. Just a red winged. Dagger in a ring of fire. No unit claimed it. Once, years ago, a cocky officer asked her about it. That's not regulation. She refilled his cup and replied, neither was the mission. He transferred soon after. The young pilots knew nothing of this. One of them, Wills, liked to make jokes. He teased, she's probably CIA or worse Air Force. They laughed. She didn't react. The veteran folded his paper. He was watching her again. A transport plane flew low, rattling the windows. She paused, listening to the sound, then kept pouring coffee. One tech sergeant noticed. She always does that. Does what? Listens. Like she's checking for something. You mean like a vet? No, like ops, real ops. His buddy rolled his eyes. The woman brought a plate to the veteran. They locked eyes for a second. He said quietly, "Glad you're still breathing, ma'am." She said nothing. Then, someone else noticed the patch again. Wills joked, "What is that? Some sci-fi cosplay." Laughter again. Then the door opened. Cold air blew in. A tall man stepped inside, full flight gear, helmet in hand. His face was hard. He walked to the counter. She turned to face him. He reached for a cup she had already prepared, but stopped. His eyes locked on the patch. He froze. Silence fell. His hand hovered, unable to move. He stared at her arm like he'd seen a ghost. Behind him, people kept talking. But the veteran watched. The woman didn't blink. She pushed the cup forward. The man took it with both hands. His voice shook. "Where did you get that?" She said nothing. That patch? It's not supposed to exist. The others noticed now. Not details, just the weight in the air. I flew cover for someone wearing that. Long ago. She was the one who got us out. No name, no medal. They said she died. Still, she said nothing. Just kept moving. The veteran finally spoke. Colonel, the pilot turned, as if back in formation. You sure you saw that patch? Yes, I was there. 43rd Joint, Southern Ridge. 3 teams in, 1 didn't come back. But we saw IR flashes. 1 person carried 6 out. That patch was on her arm, and now it's on a waitress, the veteran said quietly. Wills tried to laugh again. Come on, it's just a story. But no one laughed this time. She placed a napkin beside him, folded in a way only someone from the field would recognize. A code. Silent confirmation. Will shut up. The colonel sat at the bar. How long had you been here? No answer. Does anyone else know? Still silence. When the compound fell, they said no survivors. She poured more coffee, then looked up. Her voice was low. They didn't leave you. They followed orders. She recalled every detail. His call for extraction. The wrong coordinates. The loss comes. You carried one on your back, she said. Swapped helmets in the smoke. You thought no one heard you. I watched from the ridge, she said. You weren't supposed to be there. Why didn't you speak up? He asked. No one asked. You saved 6 of us. I broke protocol, she said, and 1 didn't make it. Her eyes drifted to the window. That's why I never wore the uniform again. The veteran rose and saluted. A perfect, silent salute. She held it for a moment, then returned it. The colonel said, You were listed as KIA. She didn't reply. Then the base commander entered. He stopped, froze, then said, I'll be damned. He dropped a folder on the counter. I signed. Your burial report. You signed the silence, she replied. They spoke in low tones, names, missions, fire, betrayal. She showed him a photograph, a ridge, smoke, a figure carrying someone. The Patchers. Why now? The colonel asked. Because I was never meant to outlive the file, she said. She showed them a dead watch, a torn patch, and an old photo. 3 pieces of the truth. Then came the manifest. A dead man's name appeared on a current assignment. She had buried him herself, but someone used his ID to reactivate the uplink. They were starting the mission again with dead names. She handed the colonel a chip. What do I tell them? Tell them I never came back. And just like that, the truth sank into the room. Later, she placed everything away. Poured 1 last cup. No one dared drink it. By the next day, she was gone. A note on the window read, Gone walking. Coffee. Still hot. Inside, everything was in place except 1 mug. Underneath it, the patch, folded flat. And next to it, the dead watch. She was never seen again, but stories spread. The admiral who stopped by the memorial. The chopper that tilted its wing over the cafe. Quiet gestures of respect. And sometimes, near the old beacon tower, someone leaves a folded piece of black cloth. A winged dagger stitched in red. Always hand-stitched, never claimed. Always clean.